Right then, welcome back, and today, well, after you've clicked the subscribe button, we are going to do a setup for this, the 2020 CBR1000RR-R-R-R SP Fireblade. Now, it's quick, it's like daft fast. So, where do we go? Well, we went to Suzuka GP, and because the bike is so quick, the AI are all using daft bikes, so we had a right ding dong and the setup was not right at all, and we ended up outside the top 50. Not that I was going for leaderboard times, but again, I just use it as a yardstick. The AI, as you can see, didn't really want to play ball. And the brakes, yeah, the brakes weren't great, but we'll come on to them at the end. And I ended up running medium soft, so a soft rear, and it did not enjoy it. Every time I got on the power, the bike was stepping out, the rear suspension was too stiff. It just wasn't a particularly nice bike to ride. I mean, 3 laps of Suzuka and the rear tyre is down at 15%. It had a rather hard time. You can see the bike stepping out as I'm getting on the gas. So yeah, we softened the rear suspension off and we went to a medium rear tyre, and I thought I need to go somewhere else that's going to punish it a little bit. So I'll go Kyalami, quite a nice, fast track, technical AI. I mean, that, as starts go, it was absolutely carnage. Look at this, absolutely mental. People flying off left, right and centre. Some of the racers, the replay style racers, were really good. We didn't go particularly quick. Excuse me. The setup, again, I'd softened the rear end off, but that meant it was understeering and it was sliding about. I mean, it was okay, it wasn't where I want it to be. Getting on the brakes, the back end's moving about, and it was a struggle. It really was a struggle. So you get on the gas because you run wide and that's trying to kill you and spit you off again. The heat's gone into the front tyre rather than the rear, so it tells me the back of the bike's not quite sort of working how I want it to work. So yeah, inside the top 100 again. Not that I'm going for leaderboard times, but just as a yardstick as where we were. So I kind of felt like it was a bit of a backward step, but sometimes you have to go backwards to come forwards. What we had done is we'd stopped destroying the rear tyre quite as much, so it gave us the support from the rear tyre. We just needed to muck about with the suspension. So we stuck a bit on the preload, and then I thought, right, I want to go somewhere fast, I want to put some heat in the tyre, and I don't know why he just fell off. Obviously he must have been tired. So we went to UMC. Now, all I did before this race was do one click on the rear preload, and it made a hell of a difference. I mean, I did have to do a bit of a restart because the AI were being arseholes again, but the brakes still weren't great. Into this corner, the AI are going underneath us, they're out braking us. Yes, we've got the power on the way out to get past them, but we ended up almost inside the top 25 on the leaderboard. So again, progress. Yes, I like the track. It's definitely inside my arc as far as tracks go. And the graphics were beautiful because we did it at 1700-ish, so 5 PM. I mean, you can see it sliding there. It tortured the rear tyre. 3 laps of UMC, that medium rear tyre is absolutely finished. And we'll come on to the slides when we get to Kanto. Yes, we went to Kanto. Yes, it was wet, but we'll get there in a minute. So I thought, right, now I've got it handling how I want. I'll go somewhere bumpy and we'll see how it copes with perhaps being forced to do things it doesn't want to do. We went to Road Atlanta Short, and it was truly, truly horrible to ride. It was fast, 13th, again on mediums, front and rear, but it was not a nice bike to ride. The changes of camber, apart from massive slides, it was understeering on the down slopes, but then it was sort of turning too sharp on the up slopes, and it was firing about and hunting out cambers, and just was not a nice thing to ride. It's got 11.5 million horsepower, so down the straights, I mean 150-60 mile an hour, and as the rear tyre hooks up, it's trying to wheelie. So yeah, it was not a nice motorcycle to ride around here. There's probably a chance that if I dialed it in a little bit more, you could probably get inside the top 10, but it feels like the effort isn't worth the reward, especially when it's trying to kill you constantly. Now, the medium did hold up quite well, but as you can see, it's bright red, so I wasn't running any traction control, so we went to Foster's, a track that I know very well and that I'm reasonably competent at. And I thought, well, I'll stick maybe some traction control on and see what happens. And we went quick again. We were 11th, despite having a bit of hokey-cokey with the AI again. Don't worry, karma is about to appear in a very big way. Yeah, go on, have that up you. So we had a bit of a restart, we got back on, and we ended up, what, 54.783 was the quickest lap, so 11th. I didn't go back. I might go back and have a little go at it, but I don't feel like that is as fast as the ZX10 that I was using for the setup video. So, last one then. I thought, well, I've done a bit of graft and it's not been enjoyable. I got a Kanto. The first lap, I ran it with traction control on. Then I turned the traction off here. So I say first lap, halfway around the first lap, traction goes to 0. Oh my god, this bike has serious problems with wet tyres in wet to dry conditions. It just slides absolutely everywhere. It drives forward, but it also drives sideways, as you can see. It does not want to put its power down particularly cleanly. It's quite controllable. If you go too far, the physics model kicks you off. But I mean, I don't think there's a massive amount left in it regards slides, with like angle and everything else. But yeah, it wasn't the fastest way around Kanto. We still went 22nd. I did have another go at it. I thought, you know what, the bike deserves a chance to have a go on the leaderboard. So I went back on the leaderboard, and we'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, she was a bit fruity, shall we say. It is a quick bike. It's probably the fastest thing that I've used so far. I mean, it was pulling 180 odd off the start at UMC before we got to the first corner, and that's off the start. So, but yeah, like I say, we went back to Kanto in the dry. I didn't change anything on the setup. I ran exactly the same setup that I'd run in the wet. I did a couple of laps with traction on, but I felt like it was holding the bike back, so I turned the traction off and just tried to be clever and modulate the power, and we ended up on a 133.4, and that would have put us third on the leaderboard. So it is a quick bike, and that's on a hard front, medium rear. It is a fast bike, but it's difficult. It's very difficult to use. There's the setup. That's where we ended up. There's not a massive amount left in the rear shock. Take anything else out, and it gets a bit understeery, a bit floundery, is that a word? No. Just a bit saggy, it doesn't want to support you, so then you put the rear preload up another click, and then it's wheeling everywhere and sliding about, and it's just, there doesn't seem to be a setting somewhere in the middle. I wish I could have half a turn off the rear shock and half a turn on the rear preload, but obviously I can't do that because it's a 1 to 10 scale. But yeah, it is what it is. Pros and cons, well. Pros, it is a properly quick motorcycle, proper fast. It almost feels like it's too much, but we'll come on to that on the cons. It's by far the most exciting Fireblade on the game. I mean, it's probably the most exciting Fireblade in real life as well, to be fair. It is Honda doing what Honda do and just showing off, and that has translated across to the game very well. And in the wet, if you have the skills, it is an absolute drift machine, and there are going to be people out there who are way better at it than me, and do you know what, pick this bike, stick a set of wet tyres on it and go and have some fun, because it is daft. Cons, way too much power. It's almost too fast. It's constantly fighting the anti-wheelie. If you put the traction on, it's constantly fighting the traction. If ever there was a case for throwing everything at a bike and not doing the engine mods, this was probably it. And I will do that. I've done the ZX10. I think I'll probably have a go at this as well, because I think this will be a much more polarised example of you can have almost too much power. The brakes can't cope at all. It will not slow down. If you're going flat out into a corner, your braking points, you have to knock them back 10, 15, 20, 30 metres sometimes, And if you turn the engine braking up, that just makes the rear slide a bit more, puts more energy into the back tyre, and then you end up with traction issues on the way out. So again, you're fighting it on the way in, you're fighting it on the way out, and it's just losing time. And I've put it's not novice friendly, and then a couple of asterisks after it. So that bike without the engine mods would be quick, very quick. You're going to probably beat the AI on whatever setting you want. With the engine mods, it's not something you're going to get on if you've not got a good few hours on ride, and you're going to be able to ride quickly, because you're going to turn the electronics up and it's just going to fight you every turn, and you're going to be faster on probably a standard bike. So there's always an exception that proves the rule. So if you've been playing ride for 10 hours and you're an absolute legend on it, well done, congratulations to you. However, if I'd picked that bike up within the first 20, 30, 40 hours of me playing this game, I would probably have turned the game off and never come back to it, because it's just not nice. It just makes the electronics have an absolute shit fit. So yeah, it's quick, but it's hard to ride. Any questions? No? Good. Right. And that's it. We're done. We're done. Another one done. I will put some of the races out next couple of days. I want to do the next 8-hour endurance race. I know I've been banging on about it, but with Christmas and everything else, and then people coming to visit and not visiting, and not COVID and then COVID and lockdowns and no lockdowns and everything else, and then the weather's been crap, I've just not really got around to doing it. So I want to get one done, so I might buy myself a bit of time, might do another one on the career, another 2 on the career maybe, just finish it off and blast them out into the middle of next week and try and get the 8-hour one done. But we'll see. I'll see how I feel. But thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for commenting, thank you for subscribing. There's been quite a few people subscribe to the channel over the Christmas period. Welcome one, welcome all. I appreciate all of you. You're absolute legends and legendesses in my eyes. And if you've enjoyed it, remember to subscribe, leave me a comment, let you know how you're getting on, hit like, whatever other bullshit admin YouTube wants you to do. And fingers crossed, I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, peace.